The next poem I'll be analysing is Symptoms of Love by Robert Graves. If we look at the title, Symptoms of Love has almost got clinical connotations to illness. Love is treated very much like a disease, if you like, and certainly that metaphor on the opening line and the title is very much dominates the theme of love as an illness that is explored throughout the poem. If we look at the structure, it is 5 even triolets. Okay, so 3 lines per stanza. Graves talks in the present tense, and if we look at that very powerful clinical metaphor, love is universal migraine. And again, this metaphor has real comparisons to suffering. Okay, the idea that love is not a passive or a joyous emotion, but rather it makes us suffer. A bright stain on the vision, blotting out reason. And again, this metaphor of the bright stain on the vision, it means that we lose our logic. We can no longer see things clearly or logically, okay? Blotting out reason, logic. Just changing that, thank you. So, loss of logic. Okay. So again, the idea of the blotting out of reason, that love takes all the emotions that are logical and methodical and intellectual and basically leaves you impoverished of all of those good qualities. Symptoms of true love, and again, this is where he goes on to describe how he perceives love. And again, very much the first person narration here. It is a very intimate outpouring of emotion from Graves. So symptoms of true love, and again you'll find that there are many metaphors in this poem, and another metaphor, very clinical metaphor referring to love as clinical, and again that's a bit of repetition to reinforce this theme of illness. And here we have quite a tonal shift, or quite a surprising description of love as leanness, jealousy, and laggard dawns. And again, just in case you're unaware of laggard dawns, it just means that they are very, very long. Okay, so the days are long, and that would suggest that your suffering is also very extended. Again, we have the use of a caesura for a pause to reflect on what the speaker has said. And again, it reinforces the long days that suffering always seem to contain. Surprising. Again, laggard dawns, and we have again in this poem, he uses a flowing enjambment, okay? And if we remember that that is where the speaker uses a stream of consciousness that reveals his innermost thoughts and emotions, okay? So, again, another metaphor, laggard dawns are omens and nightmares, and we get supernatural imagery from this. The idea that love is haunting. It's not a positive emotion, it's a haunting and somewhat frightening and ominous. Listening for a knock, waiting for a sign. And again, we have this oral imagery and a sense of almost paranoia. And again, paranoia is associated with mental illness. So basically, this poem is love drives you mad. And again, we have another little colon there for a pause until our next triolet. For a touch of her fingers in a darkened room, for a searching look. And here we have a very intimate setting. And again, this is reinforced by the use of this tactile imagery, waiting for the touch of her fingers. Okay, and we do get this sort of sensual imagery as well. In a darkened room for a searching look. And it is significant that he uses the adjective darkened because it's the release of emotion and intimacy that perhaps you wouldn't want to see under the spotlight, for a searching look. And again, there is a real sense of these two people being in something quite illicit. And as I explain the context of the poem at the end, this may well be, it may well give you a bit more understanding. Take courage, lover. And again, this is a very direct use of an imperative where he actually addresses the reader. And again, the use of the exclamatio gives it a real dramatic, almost melodramatic tone. And then again, he directly addresses the audience with the use of the personal pronoun you. Could you endure such pain at any hand but hers? And again, with most poems, it has this tonal shift in the final stanza. And again, this use of the rhetorical question where he explains that love, despite its pain and despite the emotional turmoil that it and the illness that it creates, it is worthwhile in the end. So again, note the direct address to the reader, and again the tonal shift at the end. In terms of context, Graves had quite a volatile relationship with a woman called Laura Riding. That's just a nice to know, not a need to know, after leaving his wife. And again, this could be, this is suggested in his experience of relationships. It is likely that the relationship, while he loved this woman, it did cause a great deal of pain, not just to himself, but to his wife. And like I said in the fourth triolet, again, there is that sort of sense of assignation and this sort of, quite illicit imagery in terms of their meetings that were probably quite secret. And again, the sense that he was overwhelmed by the emotion and basically couldn't fight this illness to stay with his wife. Thank you.